Now, the other day I made a video about reasons why your TV script might not get you work as part of a series of posts and information about the practicalities of writing for TV. Now, I named it 10 reasons why your TV script might not get you work. Which is all true, but it was very tough love because it's a tough industry and I want to share what I know and I want you to get work, right? Anyway, people immediately wanted more information. So here it is. Don't panic. To understand the job description of TV, you need to take on board the TV serial business model. Now, this varies from country to country and production house to production house in details, but in essence it's the same. It's driven by cost and the supply chain. And I'm sorry if that sounds very formal, but it is a supply chain, it's a business. And this shouldn't come as any surprise to you because it's what Shakespeare's company did. It's always been the model. You have to turn the material around quickly. So let's investigate. Production houses need to turn around the product quickly because they've got money, and they need to do it as cheaply as possible without compromising quality storytelling. Now, nobody in the system can start until they know what's in the script, so they know what's needed so they can do their job. Script, all these people, wardrobe, sets, casting, all these people. But the production house can't wait until writers write all those scripts ready to go because that could take years, you know, all the drafts and so on. So they have invented a scheme which isn't to do with giving writers sensible ways of writing something. They're to do with costs and the supply chain. They're utterly crazy. You'd never be prepared for it. It's ridiculous. Now, it varies between countries and production houses and delivery method, you know, web TV or free to air, what are these things? And these things change because it's the Wild West out there at the moment. They change in detail, but essentially the writers are required to forward plan extensively and to create documents that describe each episode before it's written, sometimes in great detail. And the writers have to be planning all this stuff together, you know, so that other people can do their jobs, which means you have to be fast. So speed plotting is very important, and it's doubly hard because you can't keep rewriting and everybody's writing at the same time. So the person writing episode 7 needs to know what serial there is coming up for their episode. Everybody's waiting on you because if you don't come in on time, everybody is held up. Massive logjam. So this is always what producers are worried about. They're worried about you not being able to hit the deadlines. In writing terms, it means a lot of forward planning, a lot of clever speed plotting skills. As for forward planning, here's a tip. If you're writing a pilot, don't just stop at the pilot. Show your forward planning skills. So even if they say that all they want is a pilot, sketch out some episodes and put in a note that these are just a few ideas. Why? Number one, so that you demonstrate that your show has legs. That is industry jargon for it can continue for several seasons, has the potential. Number two, you show that you, as a new writer, understand the game. You understand the notion of forward planning and you know a bit about it and you want to be involved. So you've got to keep yourself in the picture. Otherwise, you're just asking to get a credit of, you know, based on a story by. Now think of your future career. Great if it's picked up and you just sit there and watch the others do it, right? But even if it isn't, you're looking like somebody who knows the job description if you describe some of the storylines, right? So actually, you know, there are specific skills that TV writers have created to do this. You know, it's kind of extreme forward planning. They're not obvious and they need to be practiced because, you know, the whole thing is just nuts, all right? Now, cost, this is where it comes. Cost, it's all part of it. You have to write with budget in mind, okay? You're not going to get massive budget. Obviously, something using many locations or historical content is very expensive, but it's much more than that. There are loads of restrictions on you, numbers of actors, also all kinds of things. But in essence, it's about understanding how to write great quality on a budget. And a lot of that is about how much can be shot in studio and how many locations, or really how few locations, you need. All right, this is always sort of at the back of everybody's mind. See, there are plotting ramifications on that. You have to invent stories that can be told in sets, the sets you have, and you have to learn to suggest multiple sets and locations when you have only a few. You also have to choose useful sets. Now, there are tricks to do that. It's very ingenious, but you have to learn it. Now, Multiple interwoven plot lines. So this is complicated. You need to learn it. There are ways to learn it. It's about breaking the story. The Hollywood model is no good to you because it teaches you one storyline only. In TV series, you'll be running multiple plot lines simultaneously across in the same scenes often, and you have to balance across episodes of the episode content. It's about learning beat theory, stripping the stories back, sometimes known as breaking a story. But look, you can't create stories, you see, until you know the limits on you for the project you're writing. All right? So it's sort of a circular thing. So usually this means you have to know what sets you can use and how many locations, and if it's your series, you have to invent the sets, you have to choose the sets. You can see how all of this comes back to supply chain and cost all the time. So you might want to have a fantastic set of scenes at a racetrack with a jockey being sabotaged by falling off the horse or being pushed off the horse in the middle of a race and getting trampled. It's fantastic. You can see it all in your head. Great. But this is very expensive. You see, you're envisaging so many expensive locations, so many extras, so many effects. But, you know, can we seriously hire a whole crowd? How much money have we got? A racetrack for days, because this was not an easy thing to shoot. Experienced stunt riders, a horse wrangler, horses. So how could you create this story sequence cheaply, even in the studio? Aha, you can do it. Not as good as all the bells and whistles, but you can. Now have a think, and I'll tell you in the next video. Bye-bye.